Greetings and salutations. I forgot to turn my light on. I don't even think the light is plugged in at the moment. There we go. It's going to make a noise. And that's plugging in the light. There we go. Let there be light. Greetings and salutations. I am, as always, Karen Rushmore, and this is a continuation of my playthrough of Pillars of Eternity. We're still in Defiance Bay. We've got the buildings in the first fires to go into to talk with whoever is worthwhile talking to. I think that just about covers this game. I will be streaming tomorrow. I will be streaming something tomorrow. Need to check in with the Peanut Gallery to see if they're going to be around for the stream. I'm kind of assuming one of them will be. I don't know about both of them. I'll leave it up to them. And then starting from next Monday, we will be back on All the Good Lizards Explodes, all over on Manapot Studios, where me, J-Station64, Retro Ted, Krifu Banal, and Crick Missions will be continuing our Starfinder adventure in Fly Free or Die. So be sure to check that out. Hey Saber, how goes it? And I think that just about covers it. I totally forgot to start up the background music, so that's pretty quiet on that front. Saved that file. Close that, close that. Don't need that open anymore. No, don't need that open anymore. And over to Steam. Not too bad trying out MechWarrior 5, before going to FF in a bit. Fair enough. Is that MechWarrior 5 or MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries? Did they do a MechWarrior 5? I'm not sure. I know that they've done a MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries. They occasionally do that, because there was a MechWarrior 2 and a MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries and a MechWarrior 4 and a MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries. I don't know if there was a MechWarrior 5. Mercenaries, yes. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's one of them where it's all, I know that it's common for them to do both. But I didn't think there was a MechWarrior 5. The mercenary aspect does allow them to have an artificially longer game with procedurally generated stuff and bits of randomization. So it kind of makes sense because, you know, the MechWarrior 3 is the one that I remember the best. I've played 2, 3, and 4. But not the mercenary variants of 2 or 4, I don't think. But one of the things is in MechWarrior 3, one of the crucial elements of it was the fact that because it wasn't a mercenaries, every mission was a plot mission, and so they had to come up with some form of narrative. Why can I not hear that? Does the game not have sound? There we go. Alright, I have 3 ahead, the expansion Pirates, Moon, and Commander. Don't remember either of those expansions, I just remember the base game. Hey Retro Ted, nice of you to join us, and luck away my friend, luck away. Alright, so, as I said, we're in the first fires. We're just about to go into all these different buildings and talk to people and then figure out what else we can do in the city before heading back out. Oh, Mech Commander, yeah. Yeah, that wasn't based around. It wasn't Mech Commander. It wasn't Mech Warrior 3 Mech Commander, though, was it? It was the same era, roughly. Oh, what you're saying is you had the expansion for 3 and Commander. There we go. I'm slowly getting there. It's taking the brain a little while to get going. But yeah, I don't think I had Pirate's Moon. I played Mech Commander. I played Mech Commander 2. It's a bit of a shame that those games are really difficult to get working. And yeah, there is a plot in Mech Warrior 5, but one of the things is it's all like, okay, here's a plot point. Now, go off and do whatever you want. And a lot of the content that you're going to be doing in order to get the mechs that you want and the equipment that you want, the funds that you want, the pilots that you want, is procedurally generated. So it doesn't have to be plot mission, plot mission, plot mission, plot mission. It extends the duration of the game by making it procedurally generated, as well as, because I think most of the mercenary games have had some underlying plot. It's just in some of them it's not been as obvious. I think in Mech Warrior 2 Mercenaries, the underlying plot was that if you started to work down certain routes, it would take you along a series of pre-written missions rather than a procedurally generated one. Ultimately you're accumulating into like, aha, we're the good guys, or we say that we're the good guys, but are we the good guys kind of behavior. Anyway, on with the plot of Pillars of Eternity. Pelagina smiles broadly when she is addressed by the ambassador. Ambassador Augusti, I would speak with you on the matter of some urgency and great importance. Sighing as though remembering some heavy burden, Vincent crosses his arms before replying. Pelagini, if this is the same matter we previously discussed, I doubt I will become convinced any more easily. Quit stonewalling and pay attention for once. Don't know who this guy is, so I'm just gonna remain silent. I think I should let this play out and then maybe jump in when I know what's going on.
Ambassador, I implore you to take a step back and look at this again.
Ambassador Gautier holds up his hand to cut off Pellegrin in one strident tone. Enough, we're not going over Defiance Bay's animancers again. The Duke's Bell's desires have not changed since the last time we spoke. If you haven't heard, word of your insubordination has already found the ears of a Duchessy? Duchessy? Duchessa? Of, Beige Pep and the Duke of Salona. There is murmurs that you cannot be trusted to fulfill your duties. Must this talk reach the shores of Spirento? Pellegrin's aggressive demeanor drains into a state of shock and worry, but she remains silently. If it makes any difference, Ambassador, I'm already looking into the matters Pellegrini has spoken of. It doesn't, but if it would be fortuitous if your investigation took you to the Twin Elms, that's where Pellegrini needs to go.
What is it the Duke's need of me, Ambassador?
Pellegrini recovers her determined demeanor. Redirewood's instability has created an opportunity for us to take over their trade with Glenfarth. We will have to meet with the Glenfarthans soon to secure the upcoming trade arrangements. The road to Twin Elms can be dangerous, of course, but that's why you'll be with our representatives there.
It shows the Ambassador, but won't this provoke the dear Woodins? Their country is falling apart, and we're already dividing up their trade alliances.
Pelagina's feathers ruffle as she speaks with an unusually meek timbre. Provoke them into what? Going to war? Through no fault of the Republic's, the Drywood's armies have been deprived of an entire generation of soldiers. It would be foolish not to take advantage of the situation. If we don't, the Red Sarens will. Ducacy. Wish they gave more pronunciation guides, slightly better ones than the ones, there's a book that they've got which gives some dialect help, but I think that's on the very Welsh sounding or Welsh looking words. Without writing it down and then going back to that book wherever it is, I think I don't have it in my inventory. It's nigh on impossible to know for sure. Ambassador, that's some cold compassion, considering what these people have already been through.
More than that, Ambassador, there is a practical element to consider. We may profit in the short term from this arrangement, but what of the future? The Deerwood won't forget, and the Republics may pay the price for it.
The ambassador decides. We're not the Duke's, Pellegrini. It's their decision and our job to carry out their orders. It's not like we're asking you to assassinate someone. Pellegrini raises an eyebrow and clenches his jaw, but remains silent. Pellegrini, he shakes his head. Go to Twin Elm, speak to the Anamethath, impress upon her the instability of the Drywood, and reassure her of the Valian Republic's desires to open safe trade. After a long and uncomfortable pause, Pellegrini exhales deeply, the lids of her eyes closing briefly as she slumps into acceptance. Of course, Ambassador. The ambassador nods and smiles paternally. He then looks at you. I know you're planned on investigating this crisis together, but I hope you understand Pellegrini's responsibilities. Of course, Ambassador. We all have our duties to attend to. Pellegrini narrows her eyes at you in annoyance, but Vincent beams. Excellent. Now then, if you'll excuse me.
Could have gone better. Could have gone worse. Not that you helped put up much of a fight.
I think you're in the right, but I didn't want to make the ambassador any angrier.
Enough wisdom for both of us. Now, I just need to find out how to get to Twin Elms before the ambassador loses his patience.
She pauses in thought. Still, I feel that making a deal with the Glenfarvens will further weaken the Drywood and make trouble for the Republics in the years to come. Follow your heart. Do what you believe will be the best for the Republics.
I wish I knew.
That's somebody else leveling up, because most people leveled up last time. You get a survival point, and you will get stealth, but you don't have enough points for that. Vicious Companion. Trains the ranger's animal companion in vicious tactics, causing it to deal more damage and penetrate damage reduction with each hit. So 15% more damage and a DR, bypasses 3 of the DR. Gonna take the Resilient Companion. It stays up well enough in a fight, but it does get knocked out fairly frequently. And is that everybody at 6 now? It is. I'm curious. Can't even check on the person from here. I'm guessing everything around here is stealing, but we're going to look around anyway. The postings show current prices of the range of commodities, and they track the running exchange rate of the Valian loose. Valian diplomat. The bookshelf it isn't stealing. Selected correspondence of the gift bringer Aiden. Sing, O ocean waves, of Ondra's sorrow, of her unrequited love for the unattainable moon. Sing of the ocean's sorrow, so that we may forget our own. Each day the tides reenact Ondra's longing for the great moon. The waters reach out at high tide, yearning for the heavenly body, only to slump into low tide when the moon proves unattainable. You ask me once why I love Ondra so dearly. How could I go from a life on dry land to being a devotee of the goddess of the oceans? I sing of the ocean's sorrow so that I may forget my own. It is Ondra's message that speaks to my heart. I have devoted my life to helping others discard painful memories, for that is the gift Ondra gave me. When I lost my younger daughter and wife, I was inconsolable until the gift bearer offered to take my toddler's toys and cast them into the deepest waters. I've read this before. Truth be told, I and the other gift bearers I know have never even spoken to Ondra. She is largely silent, and when she does speak, she uses floods and tidal waves instead of words. But we sing of the ocean's sorrow so that others may forget theirs. Ondra's story, the story of desire unanswered, actually matters to people like you and me. Magran cannot steer you to victory over sadness. Hela cannot force down joy down a crying throat. Only Ondra can give us the strength to persevere when life seems without worth. And that is the answer to your question regarding why I love my goddess so dearly. That's locked, and I shouldn't be going poking in it. These are just a bunch of diplomats. Spread across the table are blueprints of an in-progress trade deal between the merchant company from the republics and the Dire Woden Wire Wool Collective. It's easy for you to say. The flags depict the symbol of the Valian Republics, a ship sailing beneath 5 radiant stars. I mean, I can't remember what I'm supposed to be... Which crisis am I supposed to be investigating with her? I don't remember what... she senses something as a threatened the Valian Republic. I don't know whether that's the legacy or something else. What I'm probably going to do once I've finished up with the city is go back to the keep that I circumvented the end fight of previously. Let's head to the Ducal Palace. So I'm trying to figure out if I can actually go through certain doors without, there's a door here I didn't know if I could go through it, but without being close, you can't even guess. We demand to see the Duke. He's busy. Settle down and you'll feel the back of my blade. He's just 2 refugees and a Justice card. Okay. We're just gonna walk in here. Don't mind us. Sidley, welcome to the Ducal Palace.
Hello.
The young woman wears a simple, well-tailored uniform. She watches the comings and goings around her with quiet attention. Any news to share, or are you just here to see the Ducal Palace? What is the Ducal Palace? It is the seat of government here in Defiance Bay. This is where the Duke Ahmed Hadrat declared freedom from Adrian rule some 150 years ago. She lowers her voice and grins. It's also a hotbed of regional politics. Trust me, the gossip here beats what you'll find in any tavern or brothel in the city. Multiply that by 10 and it would be just like the Republic's. Looking for news? Who are you? I'm a page here at the palace. I deliver messages and run errands for the Duke and his advisors. The pay's not great, but I can't think of a better introduction to politics. What goes on here? She laughs. Where to start? We got meetings, public hearings, and ceremonies, and that's just the stuff that happens out in the open. She leans a little closer. This is where the Duke and his key advisors work, so there's always someone bartering for a favor. Unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to talk about that side of things. But if you want the official version, she clears her throat and gestures counterclockwise around the palace. We have a shrine devoted to Magnan, our official records and chambers for public hearings and council meetings. Tell me about the shrine to Magnan. It is a symbol of Magnan's protection over Defiance Bay. She's represented to the revolutionary spirit of the Direwood ever since independence, and her involvement in creating the Godhammer bomb only affirmed her importance to us. She scratches her neck. And that's also where the first of the sacred fires burns. But Frigga, the Tranquil Ardent, has had trouble keeping them lit. What kind of records are stored here? Mostly dull official stuff. Census counts, tax records, militia registers. Now, I keep my distance. I got a curious one the other day and got drafted into reef shelving half of the records. She yawns. Worst day of my life. Is there a hearing going on right now? Sure is. Duke Arthur's been meeting with some of the city's leaders for weeks now, trying to figure out how to address the legacy. The whole business is terribly secret, though. I tried to sit in the galleys during my lunch break one day and got turned away. She sniffs. But a lot of the talk concerns animancy, so there's good reason they'll be keeping the meetings behind closed doors. The legacy? Widewind's legacy. That's what a lot of people call the rash of Hollowborn. The theory goes that's a punishment for meddling in animancy. Why is animancy so controversial? She laughs. Where to begin? Traditionalists think it's a crime against the gods. There's no question that poking around in souls is risky, but the more progressive elements believe it's our only shot at restoring healthy births. And it doesn't help matters that animancy research often involves old Ewigan relics that aren't spit that wheel again. And it doesn't matter that animancy research often involves old Inwigan relics that were illegally looted from the ruins of Air Glanfarth. She makes a quick twitching motion with her index and middle fingers. What are the Hollowborn? She raises an eye. You really are fresh from the road. Hollowborn are children born without souls. They often don't live there for very long, and those that do generally receive some kind of treatment from the animancers. So, what do you think about animancy? Me? I think the real danger of animancy is confusing a real scholar with an with an experienced fake. We get a new case here every day. Some poor couple in the Gift or Copper Lane who spent every copper they had on a miracle cure for their unborn child. It never works. She shakes her head. Breaks your heart, but it's usually nothing we can do for them. I see. Anyway, the legacy is what the politicians have been whispering about lately. I'd like to ask about something else. Tell me about the current Duke. That would be Eder Wolfgren. Don't let the name fool you, though. Our dukes have been elected since independence. Some find Duke Ava rather coarse. He's a frontier noble. Personally, I think a rough and tumble type is just what Defiance Bay needs. Goodbye. Are you gonna stop me from... No, nobody's stopping me from going up this way. Oh, it's the records keeper. I'm pretty sure one of us wanted to talk to this guy.
Well met, friend.
A taciturn man with greying hair pores over some tomb he just withdrew from one of the shelves. He glances up at you with baggy eyes. Yes, is there something I can pull for you? I'm looking for militia records from the time of the Saints' War, trying to figure out what happened to someone. The man clears his throat. We've had a number of inquiries about such information. I'm afraid we've had to bar access to the public. Seems there are quite a number of folk in Direwood who bear ill will towards our Rekarians. It would be irresponsible to surrender their names to just anyone. Many came to settle here as refugees. Perhaps if you were more established in Defiance Bay, things would be different, but I have no reason to suspect you to be any different from the others. We've come a long way. I just need to find out about my brother. I don't even know what side he fought for. You must understand, I have heard such many such stories. I'm afraid there is nothing I can do for you. What is my reputation in the city? I'm a troublemaker, but I'm an ally. I'm fairly good, but also a rebel. That is locked. I'm guessing that's a public galley. If that's locked, that'll be locked. Don't really want in there anyway at the moment. I have no reason to go talk to a duke. Most bright migrants transform us with your flame.
Good day to you.
The woman's head is bowed as her lips move in prayer. Just as you approach, you catch her glimpsing at the statue near her. She notices you and forces a smile. Praise to be Magran and welcome to her temple. How may I be of service? You seem upset. What's wrong? Her shoulders slump. This is about the fires, isn't it? She puts her hand on your shoulder. They're just symbols. You can't put your faith in them. Only symbols? Is that why you're so distressed? No, I just... She sighs with a hiss, like a release of steam. I've kept them burning steadily for 15 years, but I haven't been able to conjure them for months now, and the people need to see them more than ever these days. What does that mean? It's my devotions and prayers that keep them lit, but lately, when I try to pray, all I can think about are the hollowborn all over the city, their grieving families, the refugees. She shakes her head. How could Magran allow us to suffer like this? What strength do we gain from a soulless child? Durrance grunts with disdain. What strength do we gain from adversity, from the trial and test? The fires don't wither because she lacks in faith. They wither because she does not understand how to be faithful to a whore. A whore wants neither praise nor devotion. A whore wants to be compensated for her services, and Magran has paid and pleasured in sweat and struggle and pain. This mewling imbecile is unworthy of Magram's womanly heat. And this has shaken your faith? She nods, running her hands through her hair. But I believe Magran may be speaking to me again. She frowns and casts a quick glance in your direction. You follow the deeper mysteries of the world, don't you? Perhaps you can understand what I'm about to tell you. Lately I've been seeing visions, a place in the wilderness with pools filled with sunburst of colours. Strange falls that seem to rise to the heavens even while they splash into the earth. She raises her hand as if framing an image of a vision. And behind the falls is a cave, filled with fire and heat and danger, and some token of my goddess. I know there is something there, but where, and how do I get there? She shakes her head. I've been meaning to ask around at the expedition hall to see if anyone recognizes the description. To be honest, though, I don't know what I'd do even if I found the place. Worthless. It's like so many of Magran's flock, afraid of her god's tests. If Magran speaks to her, it is to hasten an end to an hypocrite's life, and this vision is surely a death trap for the weak. What is the significance of the sacred pyres? They symbolize Magran's power and guidance, and right now the people in Defiance Bay need to be assured of her presence. She crosses her arms, staring at the statue. Our neighbours in the Valian republics see us as superstitious, but we're just sensitive to the signs and warnings of the gods. Something else? I'd like to know more about the temple here. Magran is the most revered goddess amongst the Dryawodens. It is no surprise that her temple is part of the Ducal Palace. Her fires symbolize trails, revolutions, and the blazing of new paths, all of which are important to us. She gestures to the statue. This is the first of the sacred pyres. When it is lit, so are the rest around the city. Goodbye. More quests. Hey Mecca, how goes it? Oh, my face is tired. Ah, just the face. Right. Twin Elms, Elms Reach. Okay. At some point I am going to have to go off and get my mobile phone. I didn't charge my tablet, nor my mobile phone, and so everything is slowly dying. Luckily my tablet's holding up for the moment, and the mobile phone should be rapidly charging. But as soon as the tablet dies, I'm going to lose chat, so... If I don't notice, it might take me some time before I've lost chat. You're not just a car. You're just a car with a name. What business brings you to the keep?
Hello.
Almar gives you an appraising eye. Judging by the scars on his face, he's lucky to be able to do that much. Every day we get more from the hinterlands pouring into Defiance Bay. Keeps us busy on the watch, it does. But you look like you've recently arrived yourself. Who are you? A soldier of the Crucible Knights, and proud of it. I help keep everything running at the keep so the Commander Claver can focus on more important matters. Looking for something, or just knocking the dirt off your boots? What goes on in the Crucible Keep? This is the headquarters for the Crucible Knights, so it's where we store arms and armor, as well as many of our soldiers' bunk. Commander Cliver is in the back making plans, as usual. He scratches his scarred cheek. You'll find the forge to the west at the end of the building, along with our Master Smith Dunstan. There's also a statue of the Golem, if you're the praying type. Tell me about the Crucible Knights. We're the defenders of Defiance Bay. We're not exactly a formal knighthood, but don't tell Commander Cliver that. He grins. We were the first organized militia to oppose Adrian rule, and today we have the largest force in the city. Our soldiers undergo years of combat training, and our officers are required to have their souls read by that critter in Dunrid Row. What's that about Dunrid Row? Just a requirement for the Crucible Knights, so the higher-ups know nothing messy is built into your soul's past. Alderman widens his stance. Keeping the ranks pure is fine by me. I just wish they were more careful about hiring their ciphers. What's wrong with their ciphers? He shifts his weight and glances at the empty halls. They're mostly Orlans. I'm sure they're talented enough, but you just can't trust them. Hostility in their nature, and they've learnt to hide it over the years. He frowns and crosses his arms. All I'm saying is that they should be at least supervised by other folk. That's reasonable enough, isn't it? If people treated them better, you wouldn't have to worry about them being so hostile. Alderman shrugs. I'm just speaking the truth. Nowadays it seems that that's the biggest crime of all. It is when it's racist. That is all. And it is an actual crime, so don't do it. We have a blacksmith, but no blacksmith. Just a car. Oh. Penhelm.
Well met, friend.
The young why can't he just say novices? No, Novitate's armor is recently shined. His hair is clean and neatly combed. It's hard to believe he's ever seen battle, or that the scarred antique breastplate he wears could possibly be his. Are you looking for something? Tell me about the Knights of the Crucible. We are the primary defenders of Defiance Bay. Our order's founders were of the first rally for Drywoden independence. He waves his hand. Of course, that's ancient history now. Now we're the most prestigious company of soldiers in the Direwood. It's a glorious line of work. He scrunches up his nose. If you can forget about the barracks, that is. Is there anything else? How does someone become a knight? We don't just take anyone. Our members share soul legacies with every man and woman who defended this land a century and a half ago. He shifts his weight and coughs. Anyway, Commander Clivo is responsible for initiations, but he rarely accepts foreigners. Farewell.
If this is about the breastplates, I already told Cleaver they won't be repaired till next week.
Cleaver. They have given me a pronunciation. Cleaver. The dwarf bristles between the sweltering forge fire and the work table. He wipes one muscle-knotted arm across his brow. What do you do here?
I'm a forge master. I'm a master smith for the Crucible Knights. But the way I see it, I'm also keeping up with our old traditions. The first members of our order were smiths. Nowadays, most everyone's a professional soldier. I suppose it's to be expected, but I think it's important we keep up with our roots, too.
He hefts a hammer in one hand. Tell me about the knights.
We were all smiths back in Hodred's day, though I'm about the only one here who still gets his hands dirty. We're a fearsome fighting force. Though these days I think Cleaver takes more pride in our parade formations.
He thinks himself a progressive man, but he's obsessed with soul lineage and connections to the Direwoods heroes of old. He picks up the hammer again. Other than Dunrid Row, who knows about any of that? Other than Dunrid Row, who really knows about any of that, though? Goodbye. We found the barracks. Woo! Thick grime cakes the bottom of this tub. A towel hanging off the side gives off an awful stench. Blah blah blah, not allowed to touch anything. Oh, I'm allowed to touch that shelf. This is a record of active patrols and reported crimes and Andra's gift. The latter far outnumber the former. Penhelm's additif. Curran, a cipher duly appointed and employed in Dunrid Row, does hereby certify that Novitate A.M. Penhelm has been found to have a soul free of any subservice or influences of tainted essence. The scroll is still stamped with the seal of Dunrid Row and signed by both Penhelm and Curran. Messel? The painting shows a row of warriors standing atop the walls of Defiance Bay while Adra ships sail away. Let's have a look at the training room. Do you have a name? We do have a name. The Justicar's gaze flicks over you briefly before returning to the Noviates gathered in the training area. If this is about the patrols, my Noviates are already stretched to their limits. Between the refugee influx and the mess at Heritage Hill, I simply don't have any units to spare. After a pause, she looks over you again. I'm sorry, was there something else that you need? Is something wrong at Heritage Hill? She lowers her voice. What isn't wrong is a real question. The whole district of walking, flesh-eating corpses. We've sealed the area 2 months ago, just after I lost one of my finest commanders there. And yet this is the second guard rotation to disappear. There's already enough rumors about the place floating around to keep without my soldiers whispering about these disappearances. She shakes her head. As soon as just abandon the district, but if those monsters should find a way out, I could look into it. She steps back and regards you. After what I've just told you, you want to go into Heritage Hill? I've lost trained soldiers there. Why should I let anyone in? If people are disappearing, someone's got to figure out what's happening to them. If you're so eager to rush to your death, I won't stop you. She quietly looks on the Noviates. And if you somehow put a stop to this, you've got my permission to enter Heritage Hill. I'll send word to the guards at the gate. What do you do here? I'm in charge of the keep's Noviates. I'm responsible for the training and patrol assignments. She nods at the group gathered in the training room. They're good soldiers, and they've been quick to adapt to new challenges. If there's anything else, I must attend to my duties. Farewell. I had the feeling that it was a zombie outbreak. It's a bit cliche, I think. Heritage Hill, where the inheritance bites back. Greetings, J-Station. How goes it? There's a symbol of Eidabon, a colossal smithing hammer imposed over a circular gear. It's smooth and bright with burning oils. Oh, that's something, by the way, meant to ask, might as well ask while you're both here. J-Station Medcat, are you good for being the peanut gallery tomorrow?
We just don't have the manpower.
This document estimates a flow of refugees over the past 3 months. The figure grows by the weeks. This map shows the environs around Defiance Bay. Flags mark strategic access points to the city. Let's rob everything. Be streaming Dishonored as normal. Might start a bit early for a longer stream. Fair enough.
Refugees from every corner.
I might be able to do the first hour tomorrow, but then I'll have to shoot off. Alright, fair enough.
Twice the soldiers to patrol Defiance Bay. Yes? Can I help you with something?
If I can get the time for that first hour. Does that mean if you can't get the time for the first hour, then you don't have to shoot off? Commander Cleaver stands in front of the massive stone table. A massive table. Don't know why it's made of stone. It looks like it's wood. Because I read it wrong. Studying a map, his expression is set in a grim frown. Refugees from every corner of Drywood. The dozens are getting them all riled up about animancy. At this rate, I'll need twice the soldiers to to patrol Defiance Bay. He opens his mouth to say something to one of his men, but he follows the soldier's gaze over his shoulder to you. Yes, can I help you with something? LOL, no. First hour is best situation, but possibly available for 0 hours. Lol. Fair enough. Yeah, it is one of them. It's New Year's Eve tomorrow. Pretty sure it's New Year's Eve tomorrow. And so with that, you know, doesn't surprise me that it might be a fairly quiet stream in general. I don't know what everybody's doing. It seems a terrible idea to go out and socialise. But then again, I suppose some people are just staying in and having either online conversations with friends and or just huddled around the TV waiting for New Year's. It is. It's all day too. All year's end grows closer tomorrow. I mean, it's just another day. I'm such a cynic. No, I'm just doing the mental math on the timing of the world. There's 24 hours in a day, so there's 24 hours around the planet. But it's only either plus 12 hours or minus 12 hours from GMT. I have my usual planned, though having my co-host over. Fair enough. Why don't you have enough soldiers?
Fleetbreaker Castle. The High Justice has summoned almost half of my novitiates and more of my justiciars to a keep on the other side of New Hailmar. It's not for me to question the High Justice's orders, but it's left us short-handed. And mark me, we're just a couple sparks away from anarchy.
Quit being dramatic. You chose this career. What's wrong? Can't keep a bunch of desperate, homeless, half-starved civilians in line? With so many newcomers, can't you just recruit more soldiers? More soldiers means more training, which means more time from experienced soldiers that I don't have. He half turns away from you. Anyway, I hardly see how any of this is your concern, but if you've got time to ask me about it, then perhaps you've got time to do something constructive. Forge Master Dunstan is working with the Animancy Scholar to build what we're calling Forge Knights, warriors that can patrol the streets without suffering fatigue, disobedience, or fear. Some agitators throw rocks at them. We don't have to worry about things getting out of hand. He's constructed the armor, but we need the scholar's research. Unfortunately, she has been around the last few times, and she hasn't been around the last few times my novitiates have checked. Viana lives with the rest of the Scriveners out in Copper Lane, but I haven't the soldiers to spare at the moment. Go to the Scrivener's dormitory and see if you can find her. When you get the research, just bring it to Dunstan. He's in the area of expertise anyway. This is his area of expertise anyway. If they're not half-starved civilians, they're zombies, you fools. Stay away from them for the love of God. Stay at home and have a drink at midnight. I mean, sounds like a reasonable idea, Saber. It's just one of them. And no, the zombies, they've managed to keep in Heritage Hill, the zombies. Weren't you paying attention? J-Station? All the zombies are in Heritage Hill. All the refugees are outside of Heritage Hill. Animancy is tolerated for most parts in the Republics, but some Valians prefer to the community in Defiance Bay for their research. I hope she hasn't been forced out of the city, or worse. Once you've brought him the research, he can sell you any arms or armor if you need. He forges and repairs all of our equipment. You won't find a more capable smith in Defiance Bay. Is there something else I can do for you? You're in charge of the Crucible Knights? Here in Defiance Bay, anyhow. The High Justice is our leader of our order, and he's oh my freaking word. I can't pay attention. I'm broke. It's close enough. I don't go to the pub, and I don't tend to be very party. I just do things my neurodivergent way. Fair enough. I mean, with the rising numbers of COVID, it seems like a good idea not to go out and interact with people too much. Right. Let's try reading this one again. Here in Defiance Bay, anyhow, the High Justice is the leader of our order, but he's currently stationed at Fleetbreaker Castle. My job is to oversee our forces in Defiance Bay and to keep order for the Duke. Tell me about the Knights of the Crucible. He crosses his hands behind his back. We're the only professional army in Defiance Bay, or in the Direwood for that matter. We've defended the city in Hadrat's Day. We've improved our training since then, but Dunrad Row can certify that many of our officers come from good Drywoden fighting stock. Now we're responsible for patrolling the city and keeping the peace. With so many refugees pouring in from the countryside, that's become more important than ever. Unfortunately, that's earned us enemies, particularly amongst dozens and some more enterprising families in Defiance Bay. Tell me about these enterprising families. Host Dominel, namely, they're one of the city's oldest noble families and the largest criminal organization. Their patriarch, Genmar, has been trying to take advantage of the turmoil to expand his operations. We've kept on top of him, and he isn't been too happy about that. What about, what do the dozens have against you? He snorts. The demagogues, demigorogues, gurus? Grogues. Demagogues. And troublemakers. They forgot that Defiance Bay is one of the largest cities in the world and not some frontier outpost. Most of them are mercenaries on the good day and street thugs the rest of the time. Needless to say, they've no patience for law and order. I see. Was there something else I can do for you? Goodbye. See, I don't like any of the factions in this city. So from what I can tell is that there's 3 factions. There's House Domidel, there's the Knights of the Crucible, and there's the Dozens. The Domidels are a criminal organization, they've just said. The Dozens are just far too chaotic and bloodthirsty. And the Knights of the Crucible are slightly racist, if not racist. There's only one person that I've met that was racist, but it's all like, yes, we should have them fired. Fired immediately. Unless you're interacting with them in a very 47 way. I mean, even then you shouldn't really be doing that too much. You know, you should be favouring 47 and his Rutten Goldberg style assassinations where you can trigger it off from half a mile away. And then, you know, still end up killing the person. Fired from a cannon? I mean, firing from a cannon would be a suitable punishment for racism, but also just dragging him through the streets and basically calling him what he is and shaming him, that's another alternative. Praise to the
exiled queen. May her crown be restored and her justice prevail. Come to pay your respects to the queen that was.
A ghost hovers in the middle of the ruins, reciting blessings and prayers. Even as the spirit's form shifts and swirls, it retains the face of an elderly man in robes that mark wealth and status. It turns to you. J-Station, if you're still around, you probably aren't if you are. But are you streaming this evening? Come to pay your respects to the queen that was. Who are you?
Lord Ardwellen Rugford III, and pleased to make your acquaintance. I came to the Deerwood on one of the first ships from Adia. And unlike the yokels and hut dwellers around here, I still keep to the old ways.
His cloudy eyes swim with resentment. It is truly a pity to see what the locals have done with Wodika's house of worship. I was told I'd find a temple of Wodika here.
And so you did. These savage colonists may have burned it down, but worship of the Oathbinder is alive and well. These stairs lead to the main sanctum.
What stairs?
These stairs, of course. The sanctum was always below ground, adjacent to the catacombs, so it wasn't destroyed by the fires.
And tell me where I can find an entrance to these catacombs.
There are various entrances throughout Defiance Bay, but I dare say the easiest to reach is in Copper Lane. I haven't been to that part of town in ages, but as I recall, It's somewhere near the southern gate.
What are you doing?
Worshipping Woodica, the exiled queen and oathbinder. I come every day to offer my devotion. I'd love nothing more than to book passage back to Adia, but it is my emperor's wish that I serve in these barbaric lands. And so I do.
Woodica. I intend to shortly, but there are some technical difficulties. Fair enough. All right. Just wanted to basically find out if you were streaming, just in case for later. But yes, JStation 64 should be streaming over on their channel soon and or already. They are currently playing on Thursdays No Man's Sky. Doing things. I think they were doing some. I think they were sorting out their settlement from the latest expansion. I think that's what they were doing this week. But then again, JStation also does a lot of thinking and ooh shiny, so we'll just divert off course at the drop of a hat and or whim. So who knows what we're going to be in for when we raid them later. But they're about to start up their stream over on their channel. I'd like to know more about Woodica.
A queen among the gods. She oversees laws and oaths. Everything has a rightful place, and Woodica watches over them all.
It's made for distractible players. I mean, yes. I'm not disagreeing with you there. It's just one of them where it's hard to keep track of what you're up to, because even as you're actively saying, I should be doing this right now and I'm going to do that, you just get distracted halfway through a sentence I've seen and go off. I know what I'll be in for. Kyra Rossmore and JStation, shenanigans, hijinks, and laughable meme antics. Fair enough. The Ghost Haze features sharpened with delight.
Of course, not everyone accepts this. Even among the other gods, her authority is questioned. But Woodica is also goddess of memory and vengeance, and she remembers. She'll remember every slight and trespass when she reclaims her throne.
You know you're a ghost, right?
I beg your pardon? Is this some sort of joke where you come from?
I'm serious. Just look at yourself.
A madhouse. That's what this town really needs.
He closes his eyes and massages his temples with wispy fingers. Goodbye. As you regain awareness of what's happening around you, you realize that your head is in Pellegrina's feathered hands, her golden eyes are peering into your own as though she is trying to catch a glimpse of the activities lurking in the depths. As she sees your eyes respond, she wobbles your head a little and gives you a light slap, letting go and stepping back as she regards you with concern. Everything going all right in there? Weeds grow thick and full, untroubled by the passage of Kith. Okay, so we've got lots of things to be doing. Find a way into the Temple of Woodica. Built to last. Go to the Scrivener's dormitory in Copper Lane. I need to go to Copper Lane for multiple things. And I think while I'm there, I'm going to drop out of the city, go off and deal with that keep. And then get back. It's one of them, it's like I'm trying to complete as many side quests. There we go. There's a name for the quests that you do. Side quests. As I can in this game. And leaving the one unfinished over in Radix Hold is bothering me. But I want to do this one in Copper Lane before I forget about it. There's a lot going on in this game. Right. Not the dormitory. Scrivener's dormitory. Think I'm gonna throw my lot in with the Crucible Knights, although the guy on the door should be fired. Find Viviana. Oh, Viviana. Skull of Mothers is complete. Somewhere deep in the ruins of El Braswell, a pair of Puigra prey on travellers and offer up sacrifices to their mother. In the past, travellers simply knew to avoid all trails leading near the well, but in recent years, a Pigwa have increased their range of their hunts. Travellers have been abducted or killed on the roads between Solace Vale and Midwood. Glenfarthans are sent to empty Braswell due to their religious significance of the ruins there, but this hasn't stopped the residents of effective towns from requesting help from within the Drywood. Canner explored the ruins of Ibraswell extensively and found a wide array of dangers in the ancient city's crumbling homes and palaces. Though the Pigwar have always been hostile to outsiders, Canner was able to speak with them and realize that they were being mentally controlled by someone else. The source of the attacks increased as Norland Cypher, who had been disavowed by her father and subsequently banished from the twice split arrows. Especially skilled in mental dominance, the Cypher was using the Pigwar, her children, to make a small fortune on unlucky travellers. However, once Kana drew her out into the open, the overconfident Cypher was quickly defeated. In the Cypher's lair near Ibraswell, Kana discovered a grisly treasure. A necklace of Pigwar had formed. The Pigwar had formed from teeth of the Orland murdered father. Experience 673, money, and items. Father's teeth. Grants rot skulls, 4 charges, plus 18 fortitude. This grisly necklace is fashioned from the teeth of dead Orlan, the unfortunate father of the deranged Cypher who used her powers to terrorize travellers near the Glenfartham ruins of Ibrel's well. The Cypher's daughters, mind-controlled Pigler, made a necklace for her as a gift. Cool, cool. Oh, and you can review the report afterwards as well. It just says money. Couldn't give me a price on that, could you? 2 days, 16 hours for that. And we can't switch out people. Right, come out, come out. Wherever you're hiding. Have I done this room? I think I did this room. So I can't find who I'm after, so go talk to Corin, who tells me that they're not here.
Welcome.
Your skin's still green, but you've lost your ducks. I'm looking for Viana. I like Viana. She's always talks about metal men, which is strange, since I'm pretty sure she doesn't eat Snowcap. His brow wrinkles. I don't talk about metal men either, but I do eat Snowcap. Anyway, she's not here right now. Flew away to Ordra's gift to meet a friend, Bessia. No, Clesia. Yes, Clesia. Clesia is the friend she has gone to meet, in Ordra's gift. In a house, not a boat. North house, empty house. Ordra's gift has lots of boats. We should go rowing sometime. He beams at you and nods his head. Farewell. Hey, Hexgrid heroes, how goes it? I've got so much to do in the city, but I'm thinking of running out for now. Everybody's fully healed. Oh.
Hey there. How is it you Eothasians stay so optimistic? The world has not given your kind much reason to hope.
You get to a certain point and you realize you got two options. You can go mad with grief and tear out all your hair and check yourself into the sanitarium. Or you can wait for better days.
Well, feathers in my case. But I understand your point.
Ada wants to talk to you.
Strange place for a shrine to Abidan, Crucible Keep. Maybe it made more sense at some point before it gathered all that dust. And the only thing the Knights of the Crucible worship these days is the nobility, as far as I understand it.
I knew some soldiers who got recruited by the Knights after the war was over. They told me some about it. They get these young kids in there and tell them about blacksmithing and about the revolution and about tradition. Talk about the golem like he created the Crucible Knights in his forge to go win Dryad's independence. Then they join, and it turns out all those knights ever talk about is when when are we going to get recognized as a real knighthood? When are we going to get our titles and our land? Their High Justice wants to be an earl. Says it's Aben's will. He's got a castle and an army. Wonder how long he'll wait before he'll start a war over it, saying Abron told him to. They don't seem all bad. They're keeping the peace in Defiance Bay. There is a kernel of something good in there, I think. Some good people wanting to do right by each other. Trouble is, they're headed away from it.
Hey.
I mean, slightly better than the other factions that are going on around here. Right, we are fairly rested up. We're fairly well, so we are gonna go out to the world map and go back to that keep and kick absolute arse, because I should have done it like 3 levels ago and with 4 people. 2 levels ago. Maybe a level ago. Some time ago with 4 people. It'll take 2 days and 15 minutes. Go for it. Now if I can just remember my way up and in there. I think I remember roughly the way in through the sewers. And off to the left. Yeah, that is left. And some secret doors straight to the keep, I think. To the keep's kitchens. It wasn't off to the right, it was straight ahead. Although, can we go? Oh, we can go straight ahead. There's only certain places out of these. Oh, we can kind of go straight ahead. And it was off to the left. Wow, found a trap. Luckily we didn't run over.
What have we here?
I'm impressed that we didn't set any of these off running through here. Do. Is it this way? It might not be this way. I don't think it is this way. Is it this way? It is this way. And then it's over to here. And up this way, I believe. Just quick save it. And go up these stairs. Yes, here we go. So this is where we got up to last time, and then everything went wrong. As in, we all got murdered because there's 8 of them and 4 of us, and we weren't half as experienced as we are now.
Hey. All right then.
Let her approach, flanked by the host of guards, all of whom regard you with mute hostility. Lord Raedric VII observes you from his throne, clad in ornate plate. His eyes have a hollow quality, and there is a pallor in the man's gaunt face that leaves his features showing stark against his dark and unkempt hair. There is a dagger discarded on one of the stone arms of the throne. A thin crimson rivulet worms its way down from the blade past Redric's fingers, even as he leans forward to regard you with a piercing gaze. Thought he'd be better looking, even with all the inbreeding. Though his face is calm, you notice Ida's hand stray towards his weapon as though with a mind of its own. It seems I have you to thank for the chaos spreading through my keep. I half expected some invading army.
It is unlike Kolsch to hire mercenaries, or foreigners for that matter. And you are not one of mine, so I cannot accuse you of treason.
Redric's voice is a low rasp, his gaze fixed upon you. He smiles grimly, flashing white teeth. His fingers close loosely around the pommel of the dagger, as if to ascertain if it's still there, and then flinches away. Perhaps we ought to have considered such tactics sooner. You've made short work of my guards. He narrows his eyes. They were good and loyal servants, loyal to my coin, if not to me. They deserved a better fate than you gave them.
What has my cousin promised you? Some grand reward? If he had any resources to his name, he would not covet mine. And if he had any honor in him, he would not have tried this here, now, when I have lost so much.
Point at the dagger. What happened here? There?
A just sentence.
Redric turns his head slightly to regard the dagger. The dagger. There is a sudden careful stillness in his expression. His voice wavers in a moment of pang of grief crosses His voice wavers, and in that moment a pang of grief crosses his face. Ygritte knew. She hid the verses from me, the tokens. She knew what I would make of them. The scattered god poisons her against me, made her deaf to my instruction. Only when our son was born, that hollow thing, that monster, then we knew what her crimes had wrought. Redric turns a baleful look upon you, jaw working, face flushed and splotchy with emotion. It could not stand. He brings up a hand suddenly towards his temple, obscuring his face. What does Kolsch know of sacrifice? He would indulge himself, let us succumb one by one and suffer Baraf's punishment. Not until the final soul goes to its keeping, never to return, and the Gilded Vale is but a barren land. You murdered your own wife, your child? I carried out the sentence. Would you have me give her to an executioner? In the Drywood we see to our own justice. Raedric sits back in his throne, his knuckles white upon the armrest. And that thing, that silent aberration, That was not alive to kill. His dark eyes narrow. Keep your recriminations, trespasser. I have done my duty. I am not here for speeches. I came to stop you.
Stop me from saving Gilded Vale? From doing what I must to see this curse lifted and our children restored? What purpose is there in that? No, you come to put a weaker man upon the throne for no reason but that he clamors for it and claim it just. You are a pawn in Kolsch's designs, and he has kept his motivations from you for a reason. I wonder if you understand what it is you do, or what you might accomplish if you were better informed.
He studies you with a fierce intensity.
You have proven your competence in your way, and had I such an ally, we might together put an end to Gilded Vale's woes, lift the curse once and for all, and in doing so, return us to a life where such strict measures are not necessary.
I'm listening. I'm willing to listen. What did you have in mind?
Good, good. The stakes are too high for rash action. Be assured Defiance Bay will hear of your assistance to me.
You're in a position to put a swift end to this rebellion. I have wasted too many resources on Kolsch and paid the cost of it. Kill him, and I can refocus my attentions upon this blight. Between the priest and my animals, I can determine a cure. My family will be the last to suffer from this legacy. I don't know. I think it's nice that someone's there to distract him from killing the rest of the town. Even if it's not the best neighbors these days. He has doubtless attempted to ply you with lies, hoping to pull you aside and pull you to his side. He would permit you to approach him, so that he might work upon you further, and then you will have an opportunity. I am not convinced. Defend yourself.
So be it. May the twinned god take pity upon your splintered soul, and scatter it to the winds.
Redric's frown deepens, but he only nods. Redric raises from the throne, and around him his guards settle into battle stances. Do dee do dee do dee do do dee do do dee do dee do 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 dee do do dee do do dee do do dee do dee do do. Wow, you got mullered. Nope. It's a hell of a hit to the face. Can't actually tell who this is going to affect. It might get them all.
What?
Is complaining about. I just focus again. Okay, lots of spells. Just concentrate on all of the spells. How many verses are we up to? We're up to 2 verses. Cool, cool. Yes, I know he's low on result things. We need more Skellybobs. We're not using Skellybobs anymore. We're using Will-O-Wisps. My son, do you see your sisters across the moor? You're there. Can you lay on hands? Either? Too late. We're up to 4. Time to bring in the Will-O-Wisps. More magic. Always more magic. It only targets enemies, isn't it? Foe AoE, yeah. Those Will-O-Wisps weren't where I wanted them to be. You're getting murdered. Maybe I should have gone with the Skellybobs. More terrible things. Who are you? What are you? What are you doing? Don't know. Let me rephrase. Let me more spoopy light Skellybobs. Whoa! What did I do there? I don't quite know, but it seems to have worked. Oh, it might have been one of the Skellybobs that did that. That just eviscerated people? It's not questioning too much. How's everybody doing? Okay, the Will-O-Wisp killed that guy. Right. Everybody focus on murdering that guy. We got this. We do got this. We did it!
Good.
Hey.
Now, loot all the bodies. Justice. Unique greatsword, two-handed. It's a fine weapon. It has plus 25% crush damage. It does slashing, piercing, and crushing. This sword was once used by the paladin as an executioner's blade during a long-forgotten crusade. Over the years, the paladin slew countless heretics, but as time wore on, his fever slowly turned to fear of the unending evil he saw growing in his homeland. Tired of the myopic and ineffective approach of his superiors, the paladin swore to cleanse the corruption from the hearts of his people and took it upon himself to execute any who consorted with heathens. After finding a heretic hiding within a small village, the paladin put all of its inhabitants to the sword for aiding the sinner. That night the paladin woke, and his sword with his sword being driven through his own chest, having been betrayed by his own men, who were guilt-ridden for their own complicity in his atrocities. But this large sword seems to be covered in rust, but on closer inspection the brown stains on the blade are in fact dried blood. Apart from the size, the sword seems plain. Its only ornamentation is hidden under the black leather wrapping on the ricasso, where an image of Boudica has been etched. Scratches on the etching indicate that someone once tried to clumsily remove it. Well, that can go to you. Spell rights term. That can go over to you. Fine robes. Yeah, meh. Right, and everything can go in the box. There's a lot of stuff here. And there's still one guy? Yep, okay. Ooh, a secret.
Now here's something.
A fine scepter. And a couple of gems. Did they just explode into red chunky bits? Well, they exploded into something. I mean, everything should explode. Maybe it was small chunky bits. I don't think so. They've cleared away the corpses already. That was real quick. We heard that you had moved against the keep, and yet we have arrived too late. But a moment earlier, and I would have heard his dying breath. No matter. It is done. The tyrant is dead, and our village is free to move on into a greater future. Gilded Vale owes you a great debt. I owe you a great debt. You have accomplished what I could not. Take what rewards you take what rewards you care to from Redrick's vault. You've earned them twice over. Kolsk looks at the throne room, smiling. There is much to do. We must send word to the Earl, of course, revoke the cruel laws Redrick had instated. But do not think we will forget your assistance. You have brought a great change. Take pride. Everyone will remember this moment. Come, men, clean these bodies from the hall. With that, Kolsik strides eagerly towards the throne. What? So, last tick, or whatever it was, turn. Collected taxes. I lost 210 to bandits, but earned 244. So with that, I built a barracks, started construction on the Western Barbican, and hired 3 people to help with stopping money going to the bandits. This time, 3 days later, 5 turns later, we lost 466 to bandits, although earned slightly more. I should fire the bleeding lot of you. Right, let's hire some more, because we did actually earn more money. We'll get the Warden of the Wilds, he's also on security. We'll get the retiree linebreaker, another one high in security. And that's everybody who is just good in security. We got 3 more places. 1, 2... Alright, we'll get the Barathite Cleric, the Skirmish Archer, and the Vanguard Soldier. That raises our security up to 22. 9 from upgrades, 13 from hirelings. But also gives us a little bit more prestige. Although that is the most that I can hire at the moment, so I'd have to dismiss anybody if I wanted more. And hopefully in 14 hours the Western Barbican will be finished, adding 2 more to the security, and I can look at upping security even more. I don't really want to focus on security, but I don't want to be losing more than I'm making to bandits. Forgive me, friend, there is much to do, but we will not forget what you have done for us. You gonna show me where his vault is? Anybody? Oh, there we go.
Here.
This is what I'm talking about. I mean, it doesn't lead anywhere that we couldn't have gotten to anyway. Ooh, trap.
It's done.
Blood still wet runs from this woman's slit throat, soaking the sheets below. Boots of stability. What do I have on me? Oh, I got a noxious burst trap and a couple of arrow traps. Where are your vaults? Somebody said that I could rob them.
I can get it to spill its secrets. It's done.
Cape of deflection. I don't really want it. Still gonna take it, but didn't really want it. Right, now to get out of here. Rather than going through the sewers, I'm going to see if I can actually find my way out of the front door. There's got to be a front door around here somewhere, right?
Nice and quiet.
Seems to be a secret door that I can't open from my side. Right. Don't stop stealthing. Is this the front door? Hey, it was a front door. And I do believe that wraps another one of the side quests. Got a lot of side quests going on. Right, let's head back to here for a moment. Just, well, upgraded the stronghold 5 times. Achievement unlocked. Speak to a messenger in your great hall of Sadenir. I mean, it's a good job that I'm back here, isn't it? Hireling payday. Total wages 400 copper. Slightly more than I got paid last week, but we've not had a payday in a while, so it's not too bad. And the Western Barbican is completed, so we're now got a 24 in security. I'm gonna keep upping that for the moment. Just to really solidify it. And the best ones that I can see is the curtain walls. Has this place changed much? There should be a barracks around. Don't know where that is. Oh, it might be in the Great Hall. Nope. That's not the button I was expecting. H for stronghold. See, now here I can actually change these people in if I wanted. I don't really want to. But it's the one place in the game where you can. Which could be really annoying if you're so like deep in the middle of a dungeon somewhere and it's like, oh god, I need this guy with this particular skill, spell, or otherwise. And it's like, okay, crawl out of the dungeon. Get to the surface. Travel a week back to the keep, or longer. Valiant Shock Mage. I bear a message from the Ducal Palace. Oh, good for you. Is the barracks on this level? Dungeons, treasury, library, barracks. We do have a barracks. I'll get to you in a moment. Hey! A nice looking barracks. And 3 greasy playing cards are hidden under the coverlet. A sketch of a young elven woman with large eyes and a small fine nose is tucked under the pillow. Fair enough. Hello. Greetings, milady. I bear an urgent message from Chancellor Warren of the Defiance Bay. He requests that you meet with him at your earliest convenience in the Ducal Palace. Your claim on Sadenir has been called into question by the Gathbin family. Earl Bay Mal has issued a ruling on the matter, but both you and Lord Gathbin must be present. Who's Chancellor Warren? He's an arbiter of the legal matters of Earl Baelmar of the Grasp. Tell me about this Lord Gathbin. An old Adrian lineage, I believe. He looks around the Great Hall. The former lord of this stronghold, a distant relative of Lord Gathbin, allied himself with the losing side during the War of Defiance. I'll go meet him then. The Chancellor will await you in the record room of the Ducal Palace in the first fires. The messenger bows and then strides away. Fine. Could be a chest around here somewhere. Aha, here we go. Give me my monies and my necklace. Did I pick? I'm pretty sure I picked that up. Yes, I did. Okay, distribute thingies. You have boots already. You don't have boots, but that could be useful for you. And this necklace. Sure, you can have it. Why not? The paladin running around with a necklace made of bones. Sounds like a brilliant idea to me. I'm going back to Defiance Bay. Oh, not because I was told, but because I want to. But first we'll speak to the Watcher. It is good to see you here, my lady. I can feel the change in the air already. There is much to do. Is there anything I can help you with? What is the state of the keep? Ah, where to begin? Let's see here. Oh, that just takes us to this screen. Boring. So even more things to be doing, side questing to be done. I wonder to a certain degree if you can ignore this aspect, because
Better indeed.
it's one of them things where it's like in Pathfinder Kingmaker, where you had a semi-similar thing where it was like you eventually become king of the area because, you know, the giveaways in the title of the game, Pathfinder Kingmaker. You had lots of, you know, you had a kingdom to run. It started off small but eventually grew up. One of the things is, though, however, is you can lose a game if you lose your kingdom, or your kingdom gets into such a state that you lose. Full stop. No ifs, no buts, no second tries. You've just lost the game. Which is a bit rough, if you ask me. I managed to do it with a little bit of guidance from a viewer on Twitch who's played the game and knows a fair bit about it. That was very useful to me at the time. But in this, it's like this stronghold. Does it matter if I just ignore everything to do with it? It's not even marked, I believe, as a main quest. It's a side quest. You know, never far from the Queen. That's the main quest. The side quests are, you know, do these things, some of which is related to Seda Nua. Find the ruins beneath Seda Nua, explore the endless paths, so that Seda Nua will finally know peace. Do I need to be paying any attention to it? I'm going to. Is this a records room? I think this is a records room. No, that's not the records room. There's a records room. It's up over here. Do 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 doopy doo doo doopy doo doopy doo doo. Thank you for coming, Kasha. I've been trying to track you down for some time. This is Marshal Falwyn, Earl Belma's military advisor. He will serve as witness for the proceeding. He gestures to the man next to him. Well met, Road Warden. Your reputation precedes you. I admit you've created quite a bit of stir throughout the nobility with your reclamation of Seda Nua. Most are still not sure what to think of you. What's this about? The legitimacy of your claim over Seda Nua is in question. Earl Beldmar has issued a ruling on the matter. I see. All will be made clear once Lord Gathbin arrives. Do you have any questions while we wait? What was that about Road Warden? One of the rules Seda Nua, the one that rules Seda Nua on behalf of the Earl of Yenwood is traditionally known as Road Warden. Your position might not be entirely official yet, but the title is an appropriate form of address. The Marshal nods and smiles. Tell me about Earl Bademar. Earl Beardmar comes from an esteemed line of lords that once rose to prominence after the War of Defiance some 150 years ago. The Direwood consists of 7 earldoms. The Beardmars govern the northern earldom, known as the Grasp. As to the current Beardmar, he is a fine man as I know. It is an honour to serve him. Tell me more about the Grasp. The Grasp is now the largest of the 7 earldoms after it consumed the pre-war earldom of Yenwood. It encompasses notable establishments such as New Heomar, Girin's Grass, Gilded Vale, and of course, Seyden Newer. Yenwood? When the Direwood was a mere colony of Aethra, it was divided into 9 earldoms. When the Aethrians were defeated and ultimately driven out, 2 of the earldoms were absorbed and borders were adjusted. The Yenwood was one such earldom. I had other questions. What do we know of Gathbin? While I have met him once, it was ample time to determine the character of Lord Earlder Gathbin, or lack thereof. He is descended from an old Adrian line that predates the War of Defiance. His great-grandfather, Rannig Gathbin, was the Earl of Yenwood during the war. That is, until he was stripped of his lands and driven from Direwood. Do we know which way Earl Beardmar has ruled? I'm sorry, my lord. I do not. The Earl's decree is sealed. I don't have any more questions. Your timing is impeccable. Here comes Lord Gathbin now. I'm afraid I gotta head off now. Gotta get ready for an early start tomorrow. Thanks for the stream. Chat to you later. Alright, catch you later, my kit. Sleep well. Hope you get up early enough. Or whatever. Yes, get up early enough. Sounds like a plan. An opulently dressed man strides towards the Chancellor. His sandy hair is trailing behind him like a banner caught in a light breeze, boot heels echoing throughout the hall. An elven woman with cropped hair dressed in dark, glinting mail shadows his steps before taking position alongside him. She watches you unabashedly, taking your measure. Let's move past this formality as quickly as possible. I've other matters to attend to. It is well known that Seyden Newer belongs to me, by right. And where is this pretender? She who murdered the Redricks, my own sister and her husband, and steals my land. Where is the low-born wretch? Warren clears his throat and glances at you. This woman here? Is this a lady of Seyden Newer? I thought she was just another servant. Perhaps a valet or a scullery maid. Everyone who owns their own keep, raise a hand. Go on, don't be shy. Imbecile! I hope you've enjoyed your time squatting on my land, provoked me further, and hung you from the highest wall of Seyden Newer when your business is finished. Chancellor, read the Earl's decree. Warren breaks the seal on the scroll and unfurls it. Regarding the matter of Gathbin's claim on Seyden Newer, Earl Beardmar finds that the Gathbin claim was never relinquished. By law, Seyden Newer is rightfully property of the Gathbin family. I knew it. Gathbin smirks at you triumphantly. I'm not finished reading, my lord. Gathbin rolls his eyes and motions for the Chancellor to continue. However, the Earl recognizes Castra's part in reclaiming Seyden Newer, a site that has stood abandoned and even, some would say, cursed for over a century. Before Seyden Newer is returned to the Gathbin family, the Earl has decreed that Lord Gathbin will provide compensation in the form of... Absolutely not. Gathbin folds his arms, a defiant scowl on his face. My lord? Warren raises an eyebrow. The amount is quite reasonable, and a requirement of your land to be returned to you, if you just allow me to finish. I'll not pay a single copy for this miscreant of my ancestral land. Do you think I'm blind to the Earl's motives, lackey? He can He thinks he can send a message with an insult. I have a message you can send, that son of a whore. Gathton raises an open hand as the Chancellor shirks from him, arms raised in defense. See, punching a lord might be a bad idea. But he is a pompous windbag. Grab Gathbin's arm. Keep your hands off me, you peasant. Gathbin yanks his arm free of your hand and steps back. The elven woman deftly draws a pistol from her thick leather belt, her eyes widen in anticipation. "Milord, milady, please. There is no need for further violence." Lord Gathbin holds your gaze for several heartbeats, his eyes burning with hatred. "I'll be coming for what's mine, you count on it. Come, Captain Emery, we're leaving." He sneers defiantly before storming down the hall. The captain lowers her pistol and gives a smirking shrug before continuing her employer. Well, I can't say that Gathbin's reaction is entirely unexpected. Though no fault of your own, I'm afraid you've made a powerful enemy. He did seem a little upset, didn't he? I've heard he's always been vicious, even as a boy, and he can hold a grudge for a very long time. In any case, Seyden Nuer now officially belongs to you, since Lord Gathbin has rejected the Earl's decree. He hands you a blue scepter, which looks to have been carved entirely out of sapphire. Here, this belonged to one of the old lords of Seyden Nuer. By rights, it's yours now. Please extend an invitation to Lord Gathbin to feast with me within the halls of Seyden Nuer. There's no need for us to be enemies. That is a generous offer, and I'll make sure it reaches Lord Gathbin. It was a pleasure to finally meet you, my lady. Warren brows. Perhaps we'll speak under more pleasant circumstances. Farewell, Kashra. The Marshal nods and leaves. So I now officially own the place. Woohoo, great stuff. The Forgotten Hollow added. Rewards 15% experience. Weirwood Ring expires in 2 days to 25 hours. Seems an odd number. So 25 hours? Surely it should say 3 days and 1 hour rather than 2 days and 25 hours. 20 years ago, a woodsman in a log home had a gift bearer of Audra bury the painful memories of his dead wife somewhere in the dense forest known as Blackweir. Since his recent death, his daughter has been searching for information about her mother. Her father left no clues, and the gift bearer has only been seen twice by the locals in the last decade. You like that kind of thing? Go, find the things. I think raising the security, seeing as though we might have trouble with things, seems like a great idea. Just continue raising up the security. I'll get round to everything else, the prestige side of things later. Although I will need the Bailey. But it's like do the southern curtain wall, the west curtain wall. The barracks is already done. Maybe the craft hall? No, go for the Bailey. Which doesn't give me any defensive benefits, but does allow me to open up this 3 and this 2. The Warden's Lodge, probably do that as well before doing the Bailey. Yeah, before doing the Bailey, do all the 2s. Before I do any of the 1s, do the Bailey and then 3, 2, 1 on the defense, and then everything else. That's a plan. That sounds like a plan for now. I know, that's still just completing that quest. Right. I can't remember what he wanted me to do. I mean, everybody wants me to do something. But let's go to Andra's gift. How are we doing for a level up? We're miles away from a level up. Because there's a lighthouse in Andra's gift. It's one of them where I kind of want to go back to it. I've leveled up once since the last time I tried going there, but twice would be better. It's Heritage Hill. And there's this stuff out of town. Then there's also the catacombs.
To beg forgiveness when the dust settles.
You must do what you feel is best. I understand.
If the Duke orders you home to return home, the safety of the Republics is being decided here. If I do what needs to be done, there'll be enough time to beg for forgiveness when the dust settles. You must do what you feel is best, I understand. It's between the Paladin and the Ranger. Ooh, so tired. I think this was the place. Hello? As you enter the room, you see several figures huddled together. They stand at attention armed, but not in match gear like the Crucible Knights. At the center of the group, one woman looms over another, holding a flail. She snarls at the cowering figure. You've got your pages of research here. You expect me to believe that this was just your scratch work? It's nothing, I promise. Just my notes. You hear the painful smack of the woman backhands her captive. We know you were meeting with the Crucible Knights. You think we're the only ones with the power in this city? They call us the Dozens for a reason. Now, I won't ask you again. At a nudge from one of the men, the woman turns and sees you watching. She narrows her eyes. You shouldn't be here. Let it go, and I'll pretend I never saw this. It's too late for that. Well, it's time for a murder. I have not rested. Possibly should have rested. Go in there with the murders. think the rest of you can just attack. Can we do this thing through the doorway? No, we can't do this thing through the doorway.
Beyond sea.
We need to interrupt that person casting the spells.
That's not very helpful.
It's just a wolf who's a lot injured. Oh. The wolf has been knocked out. The guard is dead. All the mercenary is dead. Oh, there's another one. And they're dead. Surprise!
Of course.
Mariana's face is covered in bruises and her eyes are wide with shock and relief. I don't know who you are, but thank you. Rapid, hitching breaths puncture her wounds. I wasn't sure if they were going to kill me. She wipes a tear from her cheek, wincing as her knuckles graze a bruise. What just happened here? I thought I was coming to meet my friend from the Republics. It looks like I walked into a trap. She shakes her head. The dozens have been watching me for a while. I've been working on a special project for the Crucible Knights, and they weren't exactly subtle about contracting me. About this project. It deals with a rather rare branch of Animus. No offense, but I probably shouldn't be going too specific without Commander Cleaver's permission. He commissioned it. After all, she laughs nervously. And you can see the trouble little indiscretion has gotten me. Tell me about yourself. I study Animancer in Ozia. Back in the Valian Republics, I came to Defiance Bay to research local advances, but instead of going to Brackenbury Sanitarium, I found a position as a scrivener in the Temple of Whale. I've had access to many rare manuscripts that most Animancers never see. She shrugs. Of course, I had to keep my head down. I've been careful not to let the head librarian or my colleagues know what I'm working on. Let's get out of here. She gnaws at a split lip. Commander Cleaver of the Crucible Knights is waiting on my research. Not that you haven't already done a lot for me, but maybe you could take it to him? I keep it with me to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands, but as you can see how well that worked out. She nods at Dodwin's corpse. She took it from me when I arrived. She takes a deep breath. Anywho, don't wait on me. I'll make my own way out of here. Rob the corpses. My eye has started leaking, and I don't know why. Been giving me chip all day. This robust brigandine has been repeatedly reinforced by the Adrian adventurer who once known it. Thickly padded, the armour is dubbed Arrowbreaker, and it serves an adventurer well until her fame and fortune made her grow complacent, and she allowed an opponent to get too close. While Arrowbreaker protected her from projectiles, it didn't provide the same protection against a mace at the side of her head. Plus 10 deflection against ranged attacks, plus 1 move speed, and it's got a DR of 10. And 13 to crushing, 8 to corrode. Might be useful, keep that out. And the research papers went in the box anyway.
All right, then. Hey.
Let's deal with the murders. I'm all about the murders. Right. So back to the first fires to turn this one in. I'm probably going to try and progress the plot a little bit. And go to the catacombs. Probably going to rest up first, actually. Because my spells are limited, some of us are injured, and it's not doing me any favours. I mean, that fight was barely a fight. Oh, the tablet has decided finally to give up on the power, so I'm just going to have to go swap this out for my phone. Be right back. Alright, I am back, and if anybody sent anything while I said be right back, since deal with the murders, say it again, because I wouldn't have seen it. Right, Crucible Knights, above here. They do take some weird placements at times. Really, you don't seem like you're all about the murders. I mean, really subtle. It's not like you played a bald-headed man who makes a career out of professionally offing people or anything. I mean, I play lots of different roles. I'm not just all about the murders. See, it'd be rather boring if all I did was be about the murders. All of the time, in all of the streams. Give him Vienna's research. I think this is what you've been looking for?
That's what Cleaver's been looking for anyway. If you found it, I guess I've got to start.
You don't sound too happy about this. I'm not, and I made it clear to Cleaver that this is a mistake, trying to harness souls like this. It's a crime against the gods, and he's bound to earn us more trouble than it saves. But Cleaver's given me his orders, so I've got to build these things as best I can. Anyway, Cleaver told me I'm to sell you any arms and armor you want. You won't find better anywhere here in Defiance Bay, I can promise you that.
Now, time to see if that Valian was worth all that blood and copper.
He turns to his forge, hammer in hand. He takes a polished breastplate and goes to work. Built to last.
I'll be damned. To be honest, even I wasn't expecting it to work this well.
This is Dunstan
Back
Fold.
to it. Cleaver will want me to finish the rest of them. And it sounded like he has a job for you, too.
Dunstan folds his arms as he surveys his handiwork. He wipes sweat from his brow. Show me what you've got for sale, because I am interested in selling some things to you. Ooh, what? The White Spire. Unique S-Stock, two-handed. Grants Blizzard of 3. Blizzard 3 per rest. AoE 18 to 25 freeze damage. Accuracy plus 10 versus reflex. Negative 20 to attack speed for 10 seconds. Inflicts disorientating for 5 seconds on hit. The White Spire was found amongst the possessions of a member of the Order of Bleak Walkers, though it seems to have predated her. The spiraling engravings upon the blade are flanked by small, finely etched symbols of binding and enchantment, which might be credited with the permanent chill of the metal, and a thin dusting of frost upon the estock's hilt. Sounds fancy. Heldrick's Cloak. DR 14, Crush 18, Freeze 14, Corrode 11. And plus 30 defense against prone attacks, plus 15 defense against push attacks. Damage reduction plus 3 for freeze. Exceptional damage reduction. An anomaly among red currents, Hedrick was an renowned explorer. If there was a stretch of land that could be trod upon, he endeavoured to reach it. He became enamoured with the harsh beauty of the white, that wends after an early expedition, and resolved to travel as often as he was able. Accustomed to more temperate climes, he pulled his coin and gathered, selling exotic. He pulled the coin he gathered, selling exotic artifacts to commission an armor which might protect him against the bitter cold of the southern reaches. Might be useful. Slightly cheaper. Shot in faith. Consecrate ground when hit by a critical hit. Once per encounter. That's interesting. Once per encounter you get smacked around the head for a crit and you feel up 9 endurance to everybody around you. Is that friendlies around you? Yeah, friendly AoE. There's some interesting things here. None that I'm willing to really deal with right now. So many weapons. So many. So many suits of armor. So many. Oops. So many helms and cloaks and other things. So many. It's food, potions and scrolls. Books. Tools. And junk? Probably going to keep all of that because I don't really need that much money, I don't think. There you go, now you've got plenty of crap to deal with. By tracking down the gift bearer, Kana was able to deduce the resting place of the girl's mother's belongings. An ancient dead oak. Unfortunately, the great tree had become a host of a large colony of wood beetles. With some careful scouting and more than a little fighting, Kana retrieved the belongings and returned them to the girl. However, the girl realized that the curious wooden ring among the items had not belonged to her mother. She gave it to Kana in thanks. Why a wood ring? For unknown providence, this ring was found among the belongings of a woman that the gift bearer of Orndra had dropped in the Blackweir. You recovered the belongings of the woman's grieving daughter, but she claimed that this ring was not her mother's. Where it came from is a mystery, as are the origins of its powers. Damage reduction, corrode, damage reduction, freeze, and immunity to stuck. Stuck characters rooted, able to act but unable to leave their current location. Dexterity is reduced by 2, accuracy is reduced by 5 for all sources, reflex and deflections are reduced by 20. Sounds like a good ring for one of the frontliners. course, I got to go back to keep and deal with that at some point. Right. So I'm an ally of the Knights of the Crucible. I've thrown my lot in with these guys. For better or worse. Apparently Commander Cleaver wants me for something else. How may I be of assistance to you? Was there more you needed me to do?
Dunstan will complete the first squad of Forge Knights in no time. Now the High Justice will want to have his Forge Masters at Fleetbreaker Castle create more. I've made a copy of Viana's research, and the High Justice has sent a courier to Anslog's Compass to retrieve it. The dozens have gotten too active for the courier to come to Defiance Bay. After Viana's kidnapping, we've got to assume they know about our plans. That's why I'm sending you to deliver the research. You shouldn't be recognizable to the dozens. Yet.
Not much the dozens do recognize, other than things that make them feel threatened. But after this, I expect they'll learn of your association with us, and they won't be happy about it. Neither will the Domidels. They're trying to expand the family business, and they resent us for standing in the way. This is basically the forewarning, although it's written actually fairly well, I feel. You get this sometimes in video games where it's like, wait! If you side with this person, then you'll be hated by everybody else. And it's like, that kind of breaks the immersion. Whereas this, it's like, but after this, you'll be recognise them, and they won't be happy about it. Neither will the other faction. So, if you want to work with the Dominels or the Dozens, then say I need to think about this, and then go off and work with them. But I will consider it done.
Anslog's Compass is a small lagoon just north of Defiance Bay. Your contact will be a commander named Arenroad. She'll meet you by the docks. Return to me when you've finished. The High Justice has made the expansion of the Forge Knights his top priority, which means it's mine as well.
Travel to Anslog's Compass. It's one of them with a game that gives so many side quests to a certain degree, along with the sort of like the main plot kind of being in there with it. It's sort of like there's some games that do it better than others, but it feels a little bit to a certain degree like in this I could just ignore the main plot entirely, go off and do these hundreds of side quests, slowly leveling up, and then when I get around to doing the main plot, absolutely just trounce all over it because I am that much more overpowered. Because I've done all of the side quests. Likewise, you could go along the critical path and make it really difficult for yourself because you've not done any of the side questing.
You merely hide behind them.
Don't pawn your personal problems off on me.
They will use you, cast you off when it suits them. Never speak another word to you.
Maybe they just don't answer to fiery whore.
But yeah, you can go down the critical path and almost screw yourself over into making the game a lot more difficult because you've not done any of the side questing. Been playing Borderlands 3 off-stream, and that to a certain degree has this whole side, numerous side quests to be doing. But because the areas are locked in some cases by the plot, and the main the critical path of quests to do, there's only so much side questing you can do. Now you can, if you really want, grind away and slowly level up by killing people, and lots of people at that, because it doesn't give you much experience for killing people, to get a bit ahead of the curve. And by doing all the side quests, get a little bit ahead of the curve. But because it blocks you in certain places, and also that game is very dynamic on some of the enemies that it throws at you, it's just all, they have a minimum level and I think a maximum level, so, but they can be scaled anywhere between that level banding. Which means that if you did overlevel by doing the side quest beforehand, when you get to the next part, it'll be that little bit more difficult because you're that little bit higher in level, making it balance out. Which is all fine and well. I'm not a big fan of games that level along with you. It can become slightly problematic in some cases. I'll rant about the Elder Scrolls and why I don't like some aspects of the Elder Scrolls for its auto leveling of the enemies. At some point, probably. But yes, it's one of them where it's like, I feel it's like there's so many side quests, and I don't think this is auto leveled. Or the enemies level with you. I don't think, but we'll find out at some point. I could get a room. And I want athletics and mechanics. Why not? Do. Right. So I'm gonna go into the catacombs, into the Temple of Boudica. And then I'm not sure what I'm gonna do after that, because I've got Heritage Hill and I've got some side questing to do outside of the city. I'm also half hoping at some point we're going to find and meet some more companions. I'm not a big fan of this priest. So I would like a replacement priest. At some point. Another Krifa Banal said that this priest is, so he found that the storyline was rather interesting. And I can't say that it's something I'm against. I'm all in favour of a good storyline. I don't actually know where I'm going. So I'm just going to try to check these two. Nope, there's nothing that I can do down there. That was the Necromancer's area. This might have something. You can see just beyond this line that there's stuff back there. I can click to move there. You know, I have noted to a certain degree this game has also done the whole you can't get to certain locations until the narrative tells you you can.
Keeping an eye out.
What am I supposed to be doing? The temple of Wodica is in ruins. Wodica, above ground at least. A half-buried staircase indicates that the more temple below. Although the staircase is inaccessible to me, there is possibly another way in. An old spirit haunting the temple told me about an alternate entrance from the catacombs. He said it should be near the southern gate in the Copper Lane district. A hooded man, presumably a member of the Leaden Key, was ambushed on his way through the catacombs. This disguise would let me get past the Leaden Key sentries. The disguise that would get him past the Leaden Key sentries was lost when the man was carried off by trolls. Do I need to put on that disguise? I don't recall anything about a disguise that I picked up. Thought that's where the trolls hanged out. Thinking it was Skelly Bob's in here. Is there anything in quest items? Just a bunch of keys and some research notes, and I know it's not in the research notes. Let's go into fast mode and really scare out this place again. That was where the refugee was. Didn't like. See, I'm pretty sure it's behind one of these walls. I just don't know which wall or how to get past it. You know, that there is blacker than black. So I know that there's nothing that I can do there. But all along this wall, it seems to be slightly shaded.
Nice and quiet.
Is there anybody left in chat? Because I was expecting to come here and find something that I could work with. No, that also looks totally dark. It's usually this point that I ask somebody in chat to go look up this for me so that I don't have to do it myself. But I don't think there's anybody left in chat. So I might have to do it myself. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? I am thinking thinking let's go to Google. Right, never far from the Queen. How to get into the temple from the catacombs. Southwestern corner. Otherwise, enter the Copperling Catacombs in the southwestern. Proceed to the southwest corner of the map to find the entrance. I went to the southwest corner on the map. Oh! God damn it, it's already opened up a door for me. See, this is one of the things where it's like coming down here and doing things earlier because I've been around and thought I'd discovered everything. You know, I still don't know what's going on here then. Because it distinctly lets me click there to move. So I suspect that either that arch or that wall is not actually a thing. But this is something completely new. Do 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 do. Nope. Hey. See, that's it. Just a small little room and stairs going down. Older robed man. In front of you looms the ghostly hollow image of a man who was present at your awakening. He casts a pale, sickly light in the dank corridor as he regards you.
You are from Kratom, my dear?
His words echo in your mind for a long time past, and you know your response before you speak it. It is as if it has always been. As if it has always been. Never heard of that place. Only recently.
A remarkable city. Truly one of the most impressive we have encountered outside of our own. Many exceptional people who have joined our cause come from Kratom. What made you decide to join our order?
I don't know anything about you or your order. Your teachings spoke to me.
The gods are just, and they care for their faithful. I think that speaks to many people. Are you ready to take the oath? To spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen?
I am. No idea what that was about. The mercenary eyes you warily as you approach, his weapon readied. What are you doing here? You don't look like one of them. You don't look like one of that masked lot. Relax. How would I know to be here if I didn't belong? Ugh. Sorry about that. He thinks carefully and then nods. Alright, go. Alright then, go on in and report to the Acolyte. She'll give you your assignment. They should just be about finished with their meeting in the big chamber. Know anything about this place? He shakes his head. As far as I can tell, we're underneath the first fires, probably under that ruined temple. Any idea on what's going on around here? Word of advice, friend. Don't ask questions. Just go and do what you're told. Farewell. I want to see what's around this corner. before committing going down there. That's a secret door if I ever saw one. And we found
Now here's something.
a switch. We didn't find the trap though. We found that trap. Everybody out in the smog cloud of blur. You think you hear the faint sounds of whispering coming from the skulls, but the words are unintelligible.
It's done.
Noxious burst trap added to the inventory. Ring of searing flames grants combusting wounds 3 times per rest. Could be useful. Baby Bell. Oh, that's something I was looking at. This armor. It's a 10. Defiant and fine. 50% armor damage reduction when under 25 health. Damage reduction by 2. And the recovery speed is less. I don't think I've got anybody else who wears this kind of armor. Yeah, everybody is in slightly lighter armor. Should really think about trying to enchant this at some point. Just so that I've actually got some damage reduction. Need a diamond. To add intellect to. I think intellect is my main. Oh, wait, no. What is my main stat? Oh, no, it is intellect. Yeah, I keep getting this confused with like more of a D&D attributes. Because it's got my constitution and dex, which is kind of like the strength, constitution, and dex of D&D, but then you've got perception, intelligence, and resolve. Which, to a certain degree, kind of makes a little bit more sense. I feel that one of the things about D&D is it is so classically set up the way that it is. And it kind of makes sense in some regards. You know, you can be very intelligent, you can be very wise, you can be very charismatic, and that, to a certain degree, makes up 3 core assets of a personality. And mental characteristics. But it then starts falling down when you try to apply certain skills to those attributes. You know, perception and wisdom and investigation and intelligence are the 2 classic ones where I feel that it sometimes doesn't always make sense. Especially seeing as though perception is very much a passive skill and is based off wisdom. So you can be a very intelligent wizard knowing that you're potentially walking into a trap, but when you walk in a room and say, is there a trap in this room? The GM turns around and asks for a perception check. Which is kind of fair, because that's what most traps are based around. But as an intelligent person who isn't very wise, it's like, I can think where best a trap might be. The wise person, through experience, knows where the best traps would be. But as an intelligent person, you can work out where would I place the best traps. And which is why it's an investigation. Which why I feel that sometimes an intellect investigation will be better. Now in this, it's got intellect and perception and resolve. Now, perception is your ability to see things, so, you know, finding a trap would be under perception. Intellect also then could potentially be coupled with wisdom, because, you know, the ability to think a problem through, or the ability to know a problem and therefore the solution to it, is the different sides of wisdom and intellect. But they're kind of intertwined. Yes, okay, you can have somebody who is very worldly knowledgeable. They've experienced a lot of things and that has made them wise, but they are not particularly intellectually gifted. You know, they don't work anything new out. They just go with what they know, and that's it. You know, and you can have somebody who is very intelligent, who isn't very wise, because they're intelligent and can work anything out that they put their mind to. They don't think about things with the situation of consequence. So yes, intellect and wisdom kind of equate to roughly the same thing, if you ask me, but at the same token are two very different ways of approaching it. But I don't know, it just gets messy, I feel, a lot of the times with the intellectual or the mental stats, attributes as they're referred to. I'm just trying to buy for a little bit of time because I don't want to get too deep into things, because I'm about to finish up here, but at the same token I don't want to be going on, I don't want to finish this stream too early, but I don't want to be going on forever if I get stuck in a cutscene or a conversation that I can't get out of. Yoink. By the deeds of my tongue and... oh, that's not it. A book lies on the table, its pages filled with some kind of unintelligible cryptography. I've read that before.
I shall make it so.
Don't mind me, I'm just opening up this chest and taking the stuff out of it.
Good day, stranger.
A lone figure paces back and forth, tapping his fingers by his sides, muttering to himself. He jumps when he sees you, and his hands on his chest. By the flame, you startled me. He pauses and leans forward. Where's your mask? That's it. I knew I'd left something at home. Well, don't let anyone inside see you without it. They're keen on anonymity. Can I borrow your hood? Of course not. He clutches at the edge, as if you've threatened to rip it off him. An acolyte will kill me for sure if I approach her without it. Forget about it. The acolyte is not one to be trifled with. Is there any... do you need something else? I'll be ready for the initiation meeting soon, honest. Tell me about the meeting. This must be your first time. The acolyte communicates with each of us individually to hear our progress on old tasks and assign us new ones. He shivers with a mixture of pleasure and dread. It's a unique process. She's a cipher, so she can speak to you without words. Fascinating, until you realize she can probably read your thoughts just as easily. What do you know about these tasks? He laughs nervously. Only what I absolutely need to. We protect the secrets of the gods, so discretion is essential. He waves a hand between the two of you. We receive our instructions from the acolyte, just as she receives hers from someone else, and so on, right up to the Grand Master. Our role is to obey, knowing as little about the overall plan, and each other as possible. Tell me about these secrets. He jumps back. You shouldn't even be asking. Whatever they are, they're secrets for a reason. Our job is to guard them, not to know them. How can you be confident that you're doing the right thing when you know so little? He snorts. That's easy. The leaden key has been around for ages by the blessings of the gods. You only need to look around to see the perils of trying to usurp divine power. Killing a god in the Saints' War has cursed us all, and the heresy of our animancy has only worsened matters. Try to replace the soul, and you'll inevitably end up with a monster. It's been a warning. There are some powers that we just shouldn't have. I see. What are you doing here? He resumes his pacing. I've been practicing the past phases. I know them backwards and forwards, but I get so nervous every time I think about repeating them to the acolyte. You can practice on me. Okay. He ushers a deep breath and with fluttering hands, here goes. First question. State your name and purpose. Answer. My name belongs to the gods, and my hand to their service. Second question. What company do you seek? Answer. I seek the company of shadows, that our labours may remain secret. Third question. Tell me of your labours. Answer. To see the craft of Kith and Wilder does not disturb what bones the gods have buried. Fourth question. How do we know your purpose? Answer. You shall know it by the confession of my tongue, and the deeds of my hand, and the oath of my soul. Fifth question. How is your oath guarded? Answer. It is sealed by the leaden key. He sighs, and with a nervous chuckle. That wasn't so hard. Sounds like you've got it. I do, I think. He bites his lip. I'm just going to practice a few more times by myself before the meeting. Goodbye. I think I'm supposed to have a hood? Are they going to give me a hood before I walk in this room? Am I going to have to go back to the... Olaf falters and brings his hand to his forehead. He takes a staggering step forward, coughing and spluttering.
Back you, Claude! Those hooded fiends are nigh to be trusted!
Elf, pull yourself together. He grimaces, catching his breath. It's nothing, I'm fine. He coughs again. This probably isn't the best place to linger anyhow. No, but it is a place to get rich. You hear murmurs and chants on the other side of the door. A ritual of some sort is already underway. Retreat from the door. You turn your back to the hall. What? Oh. I thought it opened up this area and it locked me out, and it's like, is that gonna throw me into a cutscene? I am going to leave it here. I don't have a cloak. End of session 10. Or a mask or something. So that's something that I might want to consider running back off to the Crucible to go purchase some of them back off of Dunstan? Not sure. But anyway, so yes, this has been session 10 of Pillars of Eternity. I still have no idea what is going on, really. As far as the main plot is considered, anyway. What's it? So yes, I am going to be back tomorrow evening, 9 o'clock, UK time. And I will be playing some Prey. Pillars of Eternity will continue next Tuesday and Thursday, all being well. And finally, on Monday, we are going to be restarting with All That Glitters Explodes over on Manapot Studios, which is our Starfinder our playthrough of the Starfinder Adventure Path Fly Free or Die, with me, JStation64, Krifu Banal, Retro Ted, and Crit Commissions. I do hope that you'll all join us over there. That link to that is going up in the chat. Glitters, glitters. There we go. And doobity what's it flibbity flob. Oh yeah, we've also got a Discord. Me, JStation 64, Retro Ted, and Crew have all set up basically a Discord where we all hang out, talk about streams, and a lot of things related to gaming and tabletop role-playing games. So if you want to join us over there, that link is now in the chat. If you're seeing this on YouTube, which it'll eventually go up on there, you know, you might want to check out my YouTube videos if you missed one of my previous streams. But a link to that is going out in the chat. But if you're seeing this on YouTube, there is no chat. There's links in the description below. I think I put those in. But I don't link everything. I mainly link back here to my Twitch channel. So if you want to check out the links, you'll have to swing by the Twitch channel at some point. I'll leave a comment on YouTube, either way. Anyway, as mentioned earlier, we are going to be raiding JStation64 this evening. He is playing some No Man's Sky over on his channel. So if you'd all like to join me for the raid, we'll be going over there shortly. And if not, feel free to drop out, and I hope to see you all next time. Until then, daddy bye. I just pressed all the wrong buttons there, including the wrong slash for a raid, apparently. I'll get to the raid in a moment.